In every relationship, the connection will be tested. You'll clash, you'll misread each other, you'll hurt each other. And that's what we call a rupture. And it's normal. What separates the couple who thrive, the ones who make it from those who struggle isn't that they never fight. It's that they know how to repair the fight. Before we go deeper, I need you to hear this. Don't watch this video thinking about how your husband is doing this all wrong when it comes to rupture and a repair, and then go back to him and explain to him the concepts of how healthy couples actually fight. Watch this for what you can do. Because when you change how you fight, when you model healthy repair, your partner will eventually mimic it. And that's actually rooted in science. Hey, gorgeous, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so excited you found us and hope you'll stick around. I'm Mireille Nicole, holistic relationship coach and creator of the Happily Ever After method. In this video, we're going to unpack what rupture and repair really means and why the couples who fight well are actually the happiest. You'll learn what a rupture really is and how it sneaks into your relationship, the step-by-step playbook for repairing after conflict, why your fights can actually increase satisfaction if you know what to do next. And finally, the 3 biggest mistakes to avoid. So make sure to watch until the end. Before we dive in, I want you to grab my free relationship success checklist. It's going to help you get crystal clear on what daily actions you can take to rebuild your connection after arguments and avoid them in the first place. The link's in the description below. I'll be honest, I grew up an only child, which means I never really learned how to fight. I guess I could have fought with my parents, but I didn't have siblings to practice disagreeing and making up with after. To me, fighting meant the end. If someone got upset, I felt like something was broken, like beyond repair. So in relationships, even with my friends, I avoided conflict like it was a house fire, like it was the plague. I thought people pleasing and harmony at all costs meant connection and loyalty, but really it meant avoidance. And avoidance creates a slow kind of disconnection, what psychologists call a rupture. And years 4 to 6 in my relationship with my husband were rough. We fought daily, but it wasn't just about like the dishes or who was late. It was actually about feeling disconnected from one another. And then one day I stumbled across an Abraham Hicks YouTube clip, one about how fights can increase satisfaction in relationships, and it like blew my mind. I wish I could find it again. I can't find it. Because for the first time, I realized that a fight wasn't the problem. The rupture was actually an invitation to grow. And without challenges, there can be no growth. And it made me start to look at my relationship even at like a spiritual level. Like, what if this is all part of my personal development journey? What if I was actually meant for this? Like, what am I supposed to learn here? I started asking a lot deeper questions about the arguments I was having with my husband. So let's define this clearly. Like, what is a rupture? A rupture is any moment when the connection between you and your husband breaks, even just like a little bit. Some relationship experts would say it's missing out on a bid for attention from your partner. It could be as small as a look that implies you don't matter, or as big as a betrayal or a blow up. And in that moment, when one of you feels unseen, unheard, misunderstood, or dismissed, that's a rupture. And here's the part most women miss. The fight is momentary, but the rupture lingers. That's the difference, the key difference between the two. That's why you can move past a disagreement, yet still feel distant or resentful days later. The argument ends, but the emotional tear stays open and sensitive. And every couple, even the healthy ones, experience ruptures. The difference isn't in the number of fights that you have, it's the quality of the repair afterwards. And that determines if there's like this undercurrent all the time that stays in the relationship. Couples who thrive don't avoid rupture. They've learned to repair it. And that's why you see couples who fight all the time and then they stay together forever. And then you have couples who never fight, slowly drift apart and end it. My favorite story to illustrate this is for my husband's birthday a few years ago. I had prepared like this whole surprise for him, this like weekend getaway for his birthday. And that day he had to go into the office for work, for a meeting or some sort of get together of some sort. And before he left, I had asked specifically, I mentioned exactly what time he would need to be home to like finish preparing himself and getting ready for the weekend. He had no idea what we were doing. It was a surprise. And he came home like at the very last minute with like barely any time to get changed and to put his things together. And I was so upset. I was at the beginning of my journey of learning these tools that I share with you on this channel. And that's when we were like turning the ship around in a relationship and getting back on track to our honeymoon phase, but better, obviously. And I just couldn't get my emotions together. I was trying to keep it in. We didn't argue so much per se, but we could feel the tension. And then, is impacting our mood and just the whole vibe. And when we were in the car going there, that's when kind of the bickering started. And at one point, my husband put his hand on my arm and he said, "Do you know what? It's going to be a great weekend. We're going to have so much fun." And back in the day, that would have frustrated me, right? I would have like probably snapped in that moment because in my mind, it wasn't completely over. We hadn't totally resolved. I didn't feel like I got like the apology or whatever it was that I needed in that moment. But like I said, I had started learning the tools and the techniques, and I understood in that moment that he was trying to repair the situation. That was a repair attempt on his part, and I took it, and the weekend went amazing and wonderful. And we eventually could understand each other and see where we were coming from with that whole situation and disagreement. So if you've ever thought, we fight too much, take a breath, relax. It's all good. Fighting doesn't mean that you're failing. It means that your connection is being tested and it's asking for care, and you get to choose to step up. Let's walk through what healthy repair actually looks like in 5 steps. Step number 1, you need to recognize the rupture. So most of us miss this step because we're still defending our side or frustrated, or maybe your husband is just being grumpy and you don't even know why, right? It could be either situation. But recognition means pausing long enough to notice, hey, something broke here. The key is not to take it personally right away, which is what I used to do in the past. And if you can't figure out what might have gone wrong, you can simply say something like, "I can feel we're not okay," and see where your partner responds. And that one sentence alone can change everything and open the door to communication again. Step 2, regulate yourself. But before you can even repair with your partner, you have to repair yourself. Men are super sensitive to our emotions and our energy. And for you to be in your power, you need to find your center again and be grounded. So take that breath. Step away if you need to. Give it some time. Timing is everything. And it's something that's so underrated when it comes to rupture and repair. Ask yourself, am I trying to win this, or am I actually trying to reconnect? Ask yourself, can I calmly express myself without judgment at this moment, or do I need a break first? Step 3, take responsibility. Now, this doesn't mean taking all the blame, gaslighting yourself. It means owning your part in the rupture. It's about radical self-responsibility. And there are always 2 people, right, in a relationship, sometimes more, but it takes 2 to tango, as they say. So even if your part is just this, I got defensive or I shut down, maybe that's all you did, right? That ownership of that part invites safety, and it signals to your partner that I care more about us than being right. So always look for your role in any given situation, then own it. Step 4, repair with empathy. Now you can come back together at this step. You can listen more than you speak, and you can be curious. You can validate, even if you don't fully agree. Like, you don't have to agree with everything your partner says or does, but you want to be on his side and ask, right? Like, when I said that, did it make you feel dismissed? Be curious. Or you can share, I can see how that hurt you. That wasn't in my intention, but I get it, right? That's repair. It's not perfection. It's not meaning you never do anything wrong anymore. It's not accepting blame. And it's not even condoning his bad behavior, but it's owning your part and recognizing that your actions do impact his emotions too. And it doesn't matter who did what first, and it's not a whole tit for tat situation, right? It doesn't matter at the end of the day. You can put yourself in his shoes and believe what he says and what he experienced to be true for him. This is where actual change happens. And step number 5, reconnect and integrate these steps, right? So finally, once the emotional charge softens and there's understanding, you get to reconnect. And this can be as simple as just kind words or a loving touch or going out and doing something fun together. It's also about integration, which means making the change last. So doing these things consistently over time and long enough for them to work. You can even ask each other or reflect on this on your own and journal it, right? Like ask yourself or ask your partner, like, what did we learn about how we handle conflict? How can we do this differently next time? This step turns rupture into resilience. You don't just fix the fight, you evolve as a team and you grow together. When you repair, you're actually strengthening the bond, like a tear in a muscle, right? When it heals, the tissue is often stronger than before. That's what happens when you're working out. And a coach I once worked with reminded us at one point, the heart is a muscle. Even the heart is a muscle. So repair turns conflict into intimacy. It transforms pain into partnership, and that's often the missing step. But there are a few traps that can block this repair. The first one is weaponizing this information in the video, right? You watch a video like this and you think, see, my husband is doing this wrong, or he should be doing that. And I get it. I've done it before. During the rough patch with my husband, I used to send him relationship articles and videos that I thought would help him. But that's not repair. That's actually retaliation dressed up as wisdom. This video isn't for you to diagnose your partner, it's for you to model repair. And when you shift, your partner eventually mirrors that. That's how healthy patterns and cycles are created in a relationship. The second trap, superficial apologies under the guise of repair. You know the kind, like, I said, I'm sorry, what more do you want? That's not a repair, that's defensiveness. And maybe you're hearing that from your partner. But real repair sounds more like, I can see how that hurts you. That wasn't my intention. And that's where you bring in empathy. Like we said, I think it was step 4, right? It's a willingness to understand before you defend yourself. And the third trap is avoiding the follow-up, thinking one conversation means it's fixed forever. But repair isn't a one-time thing. It's a practice. It's the little check-ins a day later or a few days later. Like it's the, hey, are we okay? Like, are we still good? Moments like that rebuild safety. Now, don't overdo that because then you're being insecure. You don't want to be over the top with that. But you know what? Also remember that 69% of problems in a relationship are unresolvable. So expect that even though you repair, some of these situations might happen again. But when you follow these steps, you're ahead of the game and the connection is so much closer than last time. So remember, don't weaponize what you learned. Don't apologize just to move on. Be genuine and don't stop at one repair because lasting love isn't built from never fighting. It's built from learning how to come back to each other over and over again, like that couple in the memes that I was sharing about, on Instagram or whatever. You're on a journey called life together and you're meant to always be learning, and life's going to throw curveballs and in different ways to test you guys. So here's what I want you to take away from this video. Rupture and repair aren't signs that something is wrong with your relationship necessarily. They're proof that it's alive, and every fight is an opportunity to practice love under pressure and grow stronger as a couple and be able to look back together and say, wow, I can't believe we overcame this. And the couples who stay together aren't the ones who never crack under pressure. It's the ones who keep coming back to one another over and over and over again. So next time the connection breaks, instead of panicking or shutting down, pause and remind yourself, the rupture is the beginning of the repair. Don't aim for no fights, aim for better repairs, because every time you do, you're building trust, you're building intimacy, you're building resilience. That's the kind of love that lasts. So we've just explored the rupture repair cycle, how healthy couples fight and come back stronger. But that's only one piece of the puzzle. To truly rebuild connection, trust, and intimacy, you need the full framework. My exact happily ever after method. In that video, I'll show you the exact steps that help me go from thinking my relationship was ending to creating my happily ever after, but better with more wisdom. And don't forget to download your copy of my free relationship success checklist. The link's in the description below.